Meet the NFL's new Weapon X, Seattle Seahawks rookie safety Nick Emmanwori. In football, there are freak athletes, and then there are guys like Nick Emmanwori. A 6'3", 220-pounder with 4.38 speed and a 43-inch vertical leap, Nick Emmanwori has the tools to literally play up to 7 positions defensively in the NFL. For me, Emmanwori is the piece that turned Mike Macdonald's Seattle defense from developing to dynamic. I'll be joined by our staff writer covering the Seahawks, Michael-Shawn Dugar, for more on Nick Emmanwori's positional versatility, his confidence in the box, and his coverage range. Okay, let's start by looking at Emmanwori's incredible positional versatility. Okay, we can see here that the Colts are flexed out, but this is really actually 12 personnel, right? They're spread out, but there's a tight end right here, a tight end right here. So this is heavy personnel. And if we look at what Seattle does defensively to counter it, we'll see other teams bring in a heavier guy. Seattle does nothing. They leave Nick Emmanwori on the field because he can do pretty much everything. And as we see here, we get into the play here. He becomes a box defender. He becomes essentially another linebacker on this play, and we can see him just get right downhill and make the play. Perfect all the way across. Now, if we turn this back just a hair and we think about this matchup and we say, you know, maybe Emmanwori is not on the field and it's a linebacker, he's not going to be fast enough to get over there, and this is going to be a big play because this is set up to be a huge play. If he is smaller, Quentin Nelson's going to be able to dominate him on a block, and it's still going to be a huge play. But neither of that happens. He is a total freak. He's also got almost 33-inch arms, which is crazy. And he's able to make the play on one of the fastest backs in the NFL, no problem. I mean, this is elite positional versatility and execution from Nick Emmanwori. Let's bring in Michael-Shawn for more on all the different ways Seattle has been able to use Emmanwori this season. Okay, Mike, you've been there, and you know the Seahawks better than like anybody. And you've seen Mike Macdonald's defense from last year to this year. I mean, obviously, he's been an impact from the day he got there, but like, from last year to this year, the difference for me has been Nick Emmanwori. What have you seen his impact be this season, and how the coaches talked about, you know, what he's been able to bring to the whole team this year?
He brings their second level just more consistency. If you remember last year in Mike Macdonald's defense, he basically had to overhaul the second level. The other thing that it does is allows them to dictate terms to the offense. You know, we're in this kind of space where, all right, they put out 11 personnel, so we do this. They do 12, we do this. They do 21, we do this. You know, basically Mike Macdonald's, you know, acting like Robert Downey Jr. in that scene in the Avengers where he's arguing with Loki and he's like, oh, we got this, we got these aliens. And then Robert's like, well, we got a Hulk. So
that's that, right.
You know, let's do that. Perfect. Yeah. You know, Mike Macdonald's like, we don't really care what personnel you have. We have a Nick Emmanwori. So you have to deal with that, you know, and that's an advantage that defenses just don't typically have from a personnel standpoint, and Nick's versatility gives them that.
Another thing that separates Emmanwori from the rest of the NFL's hybrid defenders is his confidence as a box defender. The reason why this was a perfect fit draft-wise is Mike Macdonald is one of the most creative defensive coaches in football. This guy does not fit the standard safety bill. So sometimes he can come up and play on the box right here, or on the line of scrimmage even, as we're going to see, and be part of the blitz game, or even part of the pass rush game. As we can see, he kind of bluffs here, walks off back towards the slot, and then note also how far back he is on the start. Like, he's not up on the line. He's like almost like 2-3 yards back. So he's still sort of in like a bluff range. So you don't quite know if he's coming if you're an offensive lineman, but he is. The Falcons don't get the protection right. They don't get checked out of it. And look at the explosion, the burst, and the ability to close down on the quarterback right there. Like, we'll see this from the other side, and it'll be even more impressive. Like, you can see him floating right here. The Falcons don't get the protection check. They don't get into the right stuff. Cousins doesn't quite know what he's doing either. That Emmanwori, that is. And then you can watch the close here, how fast he gets down. Boom. He's just a complete mutant of an athlete. Look how long he is to close that down on that. I mean, everything he can do up front, he doesn't even have to take on a block half the time, and he can still make a play in the backfield. Outstanding player in the box. Let's go back to Michael-Shawn for more on Emmanwori's work in the box this year. What has the staff there said, and what have you seen about how unique that has been in terms of their ability to really play him up near the line of scrimmage and just kind of in the box in general?
Guys here love him. It's really just unlike anything a lot of them have been a part of, you know, with the exception of Mike Macdonald having coached Kyle Hamilton.
Exactly.
That's really the closest comp. You know, it reminds me a little bit of how they intended to use Jamal Adams with the previous staff before he blew his knee out in 2022. It was kind of like, all right, you're an inside backer, but then you're dime. But also what they talk about when we asked them about it is Nick's smarts. You know, it's a lot, you know, to be a pass rusher, to be in all the run fits, to be in all the coverage schemes, to play dime, man, zone, all the checks, everything. Mike Macdonald's defense is pretty complex. So, I mean, Nick's ability to absorb all that information as a rookie, you know, he's not used to playing in January. South Carolina wasn't that good. Right? So to absorb all that, to do that for, 17 games and plus, Nick is a pass rusher. He's not a blitzer. Yeah, I mean,
like an
there's
edge
a
guy
difference.
almost.
Yeah, like he's part of the games and stunts and stuff, not just, all right, let's get the protection slid one way so you get a free shot
Yeah.
at whoever. It's no, you're gonna run a pick with Byron Murphy here in the A and B gaps. Like usually you don't see DBs doing that. Usually it's just, all right,
Right.
protection slide. We messed up their assignments. Now you got a free shot at the quarterback. Go hit him. That's what they do with Devin Witherspoon, for instance. Nick gets like, no, no, no. You need some moves. Like he whipped the 49ers left tackle on a on a just pure pass
Right.
rush
Yeah.
in week 18, tripped and fell, but like he won his rep. So that's where Nick has also been surprising to me, where he's not just a blitzer, which like Jamal and Spoon, where
Right.
no, Nick's
Exactly.
like, all right, you are a pass rusher. You can go beat linemen. That's incredible to me as a rookie.
Okay, the stuff that really makes the difference here is his coverage range. Nick Emmanwori as a coverage defender and all the other things he can do is extremely special. We've seen a ton of NFL hybrid defenders and hybrid safeties that can do all the stuff in the box that Emmanwori can do. The Jamal Adams situation that Michael-Shawn brought up, comparing Nick to Jamal Adams, I thought was brilliant. This was what Jamal Adams was supposed to be before he got hurt, a guy who could do everything on the field, but didn't quite pan out. Emmanwori, we could also argue, can do everything on the field. All the stuff that we've seen him do in the box, now he's just going to be man up with Justin Jefferson. Best wide receiver in football, no problem. He's a rookie, right? Stop, start, no problem. Get his head turned, almost makes an interception. I mean, this is ridiculous. If we turn this all the way back here, number one, he's head up. This is man coverage. He doesn't have any help, okay? Justin Jefferson. That stop right there that Jefferson comes into normally makes guys stumble, a yard or so out this way, and oftentimes that's just an open throw right there because people can't stop with him. At the same time, Emmanwori, no problem. We can go on and say if you can't stop with him, you probably can't start with him. Emmanwori can, no problem. Still on his hip. And he gets the head turned. The potential that he has, keep in mind, he's only a rookie. I think this is possibly the best defensive rookie in the NFL right now. Let's think about how insane all of this is for a second here, okay? We just got done looking at how he was able to fight off a block from Quentin Nelson, like one of the best interior offensive linemen in the NFL. And now we're talking about how he's able to stay with Justin Jefferson, probably the best wide receiver in the NFL in coverage. Like, this is not normal. This is a unicorn football player, not a normal player. Let's go back now to Michael-Shawn for more on Emmanwori's development and coverage this season. He can do all this and cover Justin Jefferson in man. And have really no problem. He has ball skills. He has, he can do all this stuff. It's so smooth. Like, has that surprised you?
I've been pretty surprised at that. Nick could do it. I watched his South Carolina tape. He could man up a tight end on like 3rd and long, right? That was fine, But you mentioned he covered Justin Jefferson and get a PBU in that game. He also covered Jalen Noel, the Houston rookie, down the seam. I believe that kid runs a 4.3, right? Like the ball didn't get to the point where he could make a PBU like he did against the Vikings, but it was like, whoa, wait a minute, who's that running with the fast guy? Like Nick can cover the fast guys, and that's where he's different than I think someone like typical big nickels.
Nick Emmanwori was one of the biggest steals of the 2025 NFL Draft. A first-round talent taken at the top of the 2nd round because of his positional value, but also, if we're honest, because of a lack of creative thought from other NFL defensive coordinators and front offices. Credit Seattle big time here, as the fit between Emmanwori and Mike Macdonald is outstanding. A defender this versatile with a coach that creative is a match made in heaven. Nick Emmanwori was my NFL Defensive Rookie of the Year in 2025, and I think he has legit star power in Seattle moving forward.